Just like speaking in tongues, singing in tongues is a gift of the Holy Spirit. People who can speak in tongues can also sing in tongues. From what it seems, singing in tongues is tougher than speaking in tongues. It makes sense because singing is naturally harder than speaking. The challenge with singing over speaking is the courage required. The rules of speaking are not as strict as those of singing. It also has to be mentioned that people who can sing in natural languages have an added advantage when it comes to singing in tongues, but that does not mean that people who don't sing naturally can't sing in tongues. The Spirit of God can inspire anyone to sing in tongues provided a person opens up his heart. I know it sounds odd to start teaching how to sing in tongues by recommending music classes. Truth be told, singing is singing. Whether you are singing in tongues or in a normal language, majority of the technicalities don't change. It is more like singing secular songs and gospel songs. Technically, they are the same. The difference is in their lyrics. Singing in tongues is no different. If you master singing, you will be good at singing everything including tongues. The difference between singing in tongues and singing gospel songs is in the lyrics, not the musical technicalities. This is why I recommend that you get some basic lessons on singing. I am very good at speaking in tongues, but I almost never sing in tongues, although I know I can. Singing has never been on my priority list of skills to learn. The courage and composure required to sing eludes me, and I am too unmotivated to pursue it. If you are not passionate about singing, it will also be hard to cultivate passion for singing in tongues. Attending music classes to learn basics of singing is the first step you need to take if you want to learn how to sing in tongues. If you have some experience in singing, you can skip this step. Singing in tongues has two sides to it, the musical side and the theoretical side. You master the musical side by learning music and how to sing. For the theoretical side, you master it by speaking in tongues. Tongues are the lyrics to any song sung in tongues. If you are fluent in speaking in tongues, it will be easy for you to come up with lyrics for your spiritual song. Of course, we know that tongues are inspired by the Holy Spirit, but each individual has a different level of fluency based on how yielded they are to the Spirit. A great degree of surrender to the Spirit of God makes it easy to sing in tongues. When singing normal songs, singers have to immerse themselves in the message of the song. It is not just the mouth that sings, but the heart also. Likewise, with singing in tongues, you have to immerse yourself into the singing not just with your mouth, but with your spirit as well. If you are singing a love song to God in tongues, the love you have for God must overflow from your heart into your mouth. When you become fluent in speaking in tongues and you have passion for singing, you can easily sing in tongues. The Spirit of God works in us based on our physical abilities and passions. I have a cousin who can sing literally any sentence you give her. She is so invested in singing. Sometimes she gives replies in a musical tone when I am conversing with her. That level of passion in singing is an added advantage when you want to learn to sing in tongues. If my cousin had the gift of speaking in tongues, she would easily sing in tongues. One of my friends whom I know sings in tongues is passionate about singing. Anytime I sit with her, she is either humming or singing during long pauses in our conversation. Apart from her passion for singing, she has the gift of speaking in tongues, and so it is easy for her to combine the two. If you want to sing in tongues, consider growing your fluency in speaking in tongues. Singing in tongues is not just a physical activity that anyone can do. We can sing physical songs to God, but singing in tongues is an intimate act that the Holy Spirit guides you through. This means that you have to ask the Spirit of God to work through you and enable you sing in tongues. There is no point of singing in tongues empty songs. God cannot be fooled. If you have no love for Him, not even a song you offer to Him in tongues will matter. Also, when you are empowered by the Holy Spirit to sing in tongues, you are able to operate in the diverse ways of singing in tongues. Singing in tongues can be as simple as adding musical touch to speaking in tongues, or as complex as repeating heavenly hymns that you hear. I have heard someone sing in tongues and her singing was in the form of chants. Some sing in tongues and their singing is spiritual songs that they are hearing from heaven. Having the Holy Spirit to guide you in singing in tongues is important if at all you want the song you sing in tongues to be pleasing to God. Singing in tongues is basically an extension of the gift of speaking in tongues. If you can speak in tongues and you have passion for singing, you can sing in tongues. The same Spirit who empowers us to speak in tongues is the same who empowers us to sing in tongues. When you start singing in tongues, it will be simply adding musical touches to speaking in tongues, but as you advance, you will get to deep levels where you hear heavenly sounds in tongues and you sing along. Above all, remember that singing in tongues is an expression of the feelings in your heart to God. The measure of love you have in your heart is the measure of love you will express to God when you sing in tongues. May God grant you your desire. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more speaking in tongues videos. See you in the next one.